What's up everybody, Justin Hayes here from superhumanpursuits.com, and today I wanted to talk a little bit about self-myofascial release, soft tissue work, whatever you want to label it for, the glute medius. Last time I went over glute max, which is kind of closer to the tailbone area on the back side of the butt. This is more on the posterior, on the side here. This is an important guy. He kind of, when he loses mobility, your hip has a tendency to externally rotate, which causes a number of problems up and down the chain there. For me personally, I had this problem and it was a huge point that needed to be addressed before I could kind of progress. A couple tools I use in this area, I'll go over them. I do use my PVC roller, or for you out there who have foam rollers, same concept, just a little bit more firmer. I use softball and lacrosse ball. These two, the techniques are identical, so I'll show the techniques on one ball. Just assume that you can use the other with the other ball. And I also use Theracane in this area. And in this instance, I don't think I've used this part before, but I'll actually use the hook in and show you how I get into this area. Without further ado, let's head to the floor. So to do foam roller, you're just kind of setting up in a position where you've got the foam roller position on the side of your hip here, and you can keep your foot in front or back. I think the way that I've always been taught is to keep it in front. It's a little bit better for posturally, it keeps you lined up a little better, but I do it at back sometimes. And I would say, once again, this is a 1 to 2 sessions thing. I guess it depends on how tight you are in this area. But you should quickly progress from this because it is such a broad device. It doesn't have a lot of force in this area and won't generate the same release after a couple of sessions. So it's just here really, foot in front or back. Nothing crazy, very similar to some of the other techniques we've seen. So let's jump on to the ball work. Now, ball work, I'm going to use softball for this instance. Ball work, exact same initial part, right, is you can keep your foot in front or back, and that guy's actually getting some nasties out for me. You can keep your foot in front or back again, and then with this one, what I start to do to continue the progression is I'll elevate this leg a bit, right, and you just kind of keep it elevated, and that lengthens the fibers here on this side, and will give you a little bit access to different areas. I'm doing the back here because I want you able to see the front. And then if it's tough for you to elevate, or sometimes this actually provides a little bit greater release for me, is I'll elevate with this. And so in this case, I'm keeping my leg elevated with this. I've got this on the ground. But you can take it a step further and continue the progression by actually taking your leg up, keeping them both here, and rolling back and forth on the roller on this end. And that's going to apply probably the most pressure that I've been able to with any techniques I'm aware of in this area. So I really like that guy, and to kind of get different areas, I like to pull my foot back a little bit, sometimes push it forward, but mostly just kind of push this back from the hips a little bit, and it gives you access to different areas. Final thing is, I do use cane in this area. Now, this is obviously not an all-encompassing solution for this area. It needs to be used in conjunction with some of these other tools, but it's more of a spot technique. And you can do this in a number of ways. So here I'm back against the wall, and what I'll do is I'll take it into the side here, and you can situate your leg however you like. Try to remain, posturally clean, but you're just taking it. I apply pressure, so I'll pull with this hand right here, push with this hand right here to kind of control it, and you can just taking it to those fibers there in the glute medius and trying to address them. Now, you can actually dig in a little bit further by taking it and pinning it against the ground like this. Let me push this a little bit out of the way. So you pin this little knob on the end of the hook against the ground right here, stick it into the medius there. And all you're doing is, this time you're pushing up. And the force of the ground and your own weight is applying the pressure. And this, if you have a specific spot you want to address, you can apply a lot of pressure this way. So for example, I just stuck myself in a trigger point there, and here I am just kind of just holding on that area, just sticking, waiting for release. So that's the only use of the cane in this area. You could use the same thing if you had the knobbler or your thumbs or any sort of spot treatment. But the hook end of this cane, I've found, does the best work for those really focal spot treatment areas. That's it for glute medius. Hope I've been of some assistance. As always, I'd love to hear other techniques. Anything you guys have that might better my arsenal. Love to hear it. Talk to you soon.